What's going on, Mac?
What's up, Leon? Good to see you, man. Welcome to my home.
Thank you. I appreciate the invite. You know, no vampires, but
That's
you know,
it.
we definitely. And you're welcome to my pad as well, man. Just so you know.
I appreciate it.
I have some items I would like to brag off to you, show you how I get down.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
As long as you're not swinging from the ceiling.
Well, look, on Wednesdays, only on Wednesdays. But I was looking at some things, man, and I was like, who would be a good person to have this conversation with? Because I know enough people to have the conversation,
Right.
but I feel like it would be preaching to the choir.
Right.
And the conversation is Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Now, not about the man Charlie Kirk,
Right.
but more of the demise, right? What happened recently
Okay.
with him being taken out?
Yeah.
I consider that an assassination
Yeah.
of
for sure.
sorts.
It's definitely assassination.
How do you feel about that, man?
Well, first, I mean, just so we're clear.
Yeah.
You know, I consider myself a left-leaning centrist, right?
What's that mean?
I've been a registered Democrat my entire life.
Okay,
So
I
I'm
understand that.
not a conservative.
Okay.
I have conservative beliefs on some things, mainly financial, right? So, there's a lot that Charlie Kirk spoke that I didn't necessarily subscribe to, right?
Did you know about him before the
Of course.
assassination?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I was familiar with his work, and listen, I think he's a very skilled debater, right? I think that he has impressive recall that's incredible. I mean, he's probably on that savant level recall.
Yeah, man.
But I think that his style of I don't want to say it's his style of politics, but kind of, I mean, that's what it was. Turning Point USA was established really to be like the conservative movement's apparatus for young people, right? On
Yeah.
college campuses and whatnot.
Yeah.
Almost like the old Young Democrats and Young Republicans.
Yeah. But help me understand something, Mac. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know about Charlie Kirk until the assassination.
Yep.
Okay, so, but I feel like I know enough about Charlie Kirk's ways
Okay.
and historically,
Okay.
right? Now,
I do believe that he's taken out of context a lot.
absolutely, because here's my thing.
Yeah.
He's not a politician, I found out, but yet he's connected to politics.
Very much so. So I mean, I think there's an argument that he got Trump elected. I mean, he really helped build a base amongst really white men under 30.
I was gonna say there's a target market there.
Yeah, and I think that you've seen between Charlie Kirk and the Andrew Tates of the world and
Yeah.
people like that. You've seen a more conservative, they call it based, more conservative
Yeah.
shift
Yeah.
amongst younger white men and black men. I'm gonna tell you, man, I have a lot.
He has a black following.
It's not necessarily that maybe Charlie Kirk does, but
Okay.
But when
I know Trump
like,
does.
let's just talk about the Virgin Islands for a second.
Okay.
The idea that Virgin Islanders, which is this is a black group of islands, right?
Okay.
But the idea that Virgin Islanders are liberal just because they're predominantly Democrat is a fallacy, right?
Absolutely.
Most of my friends
Yep.
that are black in
Yep.
the Virgin Islands,
Yep.
right, actually have very conservative Christian values, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
You know what I call it? Obsessively traditional.
Yeah, I mean you could phrase it that way.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a lot of things that the black community does subscribe to when it comes to conservative talking points. So it's not that big of a leap,
jump.
right?
Yeah.
To say, you know what, I can sign on to that. And I mean, listen,
Yeah.
I didn't vote for Trump,
Okay.
but Trump did,
I don't think you can vote for Trump because you're Virgin Islands.
Well, I didn't vote for him when I was in Ohio.
I got what you're
Right,
saying.
but my point is that what he did in the last election.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he made up some major ground, not only with the black community but also with the Hispanic community.
You know what troubles me about that, Mac, and I love the fact that I can just talk to you, man, the way my heart thinks,
Yeah.
right? If you have a man running against a quote unquote black woman, you should not have any black votes. And he did.
And a lot. I think he had
Yeah.
more. I think he had percentage-wise more black votes than any other
Yeah.
Republican in the history of.
I could see that.
Well, since the 1967
Yeah.
Civil Rights Bill. Yeah.
That's interesting. So, what would you consider Charlie Kirk's title? Because that's what I couldn't figure out.
Well, and he doesn't really have
You
like
see
an
what I
official
mean?
capacity. But I mean, other than the fact that he's a founder and CEO of Turning Point USA,
Got you.
which is a major organization now. Because he's very close. He was very close with Donald Trump.
So
right?
he's just not
He's
a public speaker?
No, I mean he is, but,
Okay.
he was also the president, and CEO, and founder of Turning Point USA, which is a huge
Turning
political
Point USA,
apparatus.
huh?
Yeah,
Interesting.
that is very connected to the Trump
Yeah.
administration. I would say he probably was a very close unofficial advisor
Really?
to the president. They were very close.
Okay.
You know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but as far as an official title, I'm unaware.
Because that's what I was trying to figure out. I was like, from the outside looking in,
Yeah.
he just strikes me as a Howard Stern. That's all I
It's
can
actually
say.
kind of interesting you said that.
Yeah.
So this morning I'm going back and forth with my mother
Uh-huh.
on text message, right? And she, you know, a misogynist,
Yeah.
racist,
Yeah.
all these things. And I said, well, send me some video where you're saying that.
Okay.
Because I've watched this video, and I think that, you know, he can come off as arrogant, he can come off as snidey sometimes. But if you follow the logic, I don't think it comes from an inherent place of racism or misogyny. I mean, I think he honors his wife very much so,
Okay.
or did.
Okay.
I hate to speak.
Yeah,
like
we
that,
can
past
speak
tense.
like that. I think
Uh,
wherever he's at, he probably
Yeah,
still
right?
honor.
Of course, but so I don't think I wouldn't say he's a misogynist. I mean, his partner for a decade was Candace Owens, right?
Okay.
Who I don't, you know.
And I relate him to her as well.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody can say that Candace Owens is a weak woman. Right?
Well, they're shock jocks from my
Oh, so
perspective.
that was my point, right? So
Yeah.
we're going back and forth with my mother.
Correct.
And I basically said, it's you're taking the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
If you read my text messages right
Okay.
now, I use that exact example. I
Yeah.
said, do I think that he's comes off like a shock jock, like a right wing Howard Stern? Absolutely. But
Yeah.
you understand. You get this.
Yeah.
There is a form of showmanship, right?
Correct.
People, you're not going to get your message across or build a base if you're boring, right?
Yeah.
So there has to be something sexy there.
Yeah. And not only that, he lures the debater,
Of course,
right?
Of course.
So they sign up.
He has made a career off of trolling the left,
There you go.
right?
There you go.
But the problem with that, right? When you troll people, is not everybody. You know, this is a big country, 320 million people, right?
Yeah.
You know, not everybody
A violent country.
has the capacity
Correct.
to be trolled or made fun of or to feel attacked, right? So when your style is confrontational
Yeah.
and in your face
Yep.
and it almost comes off a little bit of hostile,
Yeah.
right? Is that, you know what? I mean, bad things can happen in that situation.
Quickly.
Yeah.
Quickly.
So, I mean, as I said yesterday when I stopped by the studio, I think
That's why I wanted to ask
Well, I
you,
think
like,
that-
what made you physically come there to speak?
because here's why, man. I have listen, I believe in the Constitution, right?
Good.
And if you don't like something in the Constitution, there's a way to amend the Constitution. It's hard to amend the Constitution. The founders designed it to be hard to amend. That way the Constitution's not constantly changing, right? But there's a method to change it if you don't like it. Until it changes, you have to respect the Constitution. You don't get to cherry pick amendments, right? So the First Amendment, which is the primary amendment, the first thing that the founding fathers inserted into the ratified Constitution, was the First Amendment: freedom of speech, thought, religion, right? And as somebody you know, right, who I've never shied away from giving my opinion, correct, right? And I do it in a public forum often, right? The idea that it offends me that somebody can't take a political position publicly or state something that's even unpopular, or state a view, right? Or have political affiliations without having to worry about
backlash.
some whack job.
Yeah.
That won't, is going to kill them for no other reason than they disagree with the ideology. So it offends me at my core.
Yeah. What it sounds like to me too, it reminds me of when people walk around with fur coats.
Yeah.
And people threw like tomato sauce on it, like for what? Because they disagreed with like PETA or something like that.
Yeah.
But for me, when you speak about the Constitution, there's a lot of us that believe the Constitution doesn't speak for them, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, but there was that statement of 3/5 of a man.
Yeah.
Was that in the Constitution?
It's still in the Constitution.
Exactly. So for me, I debate the Second Amendment a lot.
Now, I would argue that the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, right? And I think it's been interpreted this way.
Correct.
Essentially nullified Sixth or Seventh Amendment, whatever the one you're referring to is
the 3/5 of a man. Okay. So like what I'm trying to get at, Mac, is perception. Right? And Charlie Kirk is a great conversation for perception.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was taken out. So if he wasn't taken out,
Right.
this wouldn't be a conversation.
Right.
Right? But the fact that he was, now there's this divide
Right.
of thought, of belief.
Right.
And a lot of us believe, so where I'm from, and I believe it's similar to where you're from, is if you go outside and talk shit, you got to be able to back it up. And when you talk shit to people and something happens to you, then what do we say as onlookers?
Well, I think that there's a difference between, being able to back it up and some coward taking a shot at you from 200 yards away.
Correct.
I mean, the guy didn't
Correct.
stand a chance, right?
Correct.
I mean,
It's not a fair fight.
It's a coward move, right?
Yeah.
Also, I mean, there is a difference. First of all, I don't believe in violence, period, right? Like, I think that as men, we're going to get away from this bullshit, right? Where it's like we think that violence is a way to solve a dispute. And I know that sounds like some shit that you heard when you were in kindergarten.
Like kumbaya
But
kind of.
listen, I mean, you almost see like this like degeneration occurring where it's like adults are now acting like children, but especially gun violence, right? It's like the idea that you're going to take a permanent measure and end somebody's life because of something as simple as a money dispute, a dispute over a girl, somebody disrespected you in your hood, right? It's bullshit, right? And so, I don't subscribe to violence, period, right? But I especially don't subscribe to it when it's political, right? Because people are entitled to have a political belief, right? So my point is, this isn't like, okay, two men got into a shoving match outside, talking shit to each other, they got heated, someone pulled out a gun, right?
Yeah.
This is one man that is on that campus specifically as part of an event, specifically to challenge a left-wing ideology and to promote a right-wing ideology, right?
Which
Because
is
that's
dangerous.
what it is. But my point is that that's why he's there,
Yeah.
right? And that is protected speech under the First Amendment, right? And so my issue with it is when it comes to political violence, or whether it be, the Speaker of the Minnesota legislature, who was just assassinated with her husband and her dog, not that long ago, right?
Yeah.
Or Judge Salas's, son that was killed when the assassin came to her house to kill her, but couldn't get to her and killed her son. So my point is that we have this uptick in political violence, and I think that that's very dangerous because if we get to a place, we want to talk about true autocracy, fascism, or even if you want to go to the left of it, where you're talking like, communist dictatorship type stuff. The quickest way to get there is when people feel like they cannot express public opinion without there being violence or retribution or incarceration or something along those lines, right? Freedom of thought, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, those tenets are such the bedrock of this nation. And that's really what offends me is it's just becoming too prevalent, right?
Are you saying that there's no ceiling to freedom of speech. For example, the Klan parades through the Heights.
Right.
And the Grand Dragon gets popped by someone in the Heights hiding in the
Well,
bushes, right?
here's the difference, right?
Okay.
The difference is this, is that number one is that the Ku Klux Klan, right, is a terrorist organization,
Mhm.
right? Who has murdered people and has terrorized blacks,
Yeah.
Jews, Catholics.
However,
Yeah.
the people parading, they're just members of that umbrella.
Yeah, but if you're part of
And that's how Charlie Kirk is.
well,
looked at.
if you're part of a terrorist organization that promotes violence against a group of people, a certain group of people, that's different, right?
Well, I think
don't
that's
think-
textbook's definition, because a lot of people believe that the government can fall under that definition. And that's where I'm standing from. Like, there's textbook, and then there's perception, and then there's beliefs, right?
Mhm.
So 3/5 of a man.
Right?
A lot of black people believe that that is still in full effect based on actions that happen in this world.
Well, give
Right.
me an example of what made you feel that way.
Sure.
In 2025.
Absolutely, absolutely. So there will be cases where, let's say, a crime is committed, and it's select enforcement. The same crime happens to a different group of people, laws change. Asian hate, prime example. When in COVID, when Asians were getting attacked, laws changed. The government's telling us for years they cannot specifically change a law for African Americans.
Like,
They're telling us that.
well, what do you mean by that? Like, what law?
So, okay.
Like, what do you think?
Okay,
give me an
okay,
example
no
of
problem,
injustice.
no problem. So you have the dire straits of the environment in quote unquote hoods in America.
Okay.
Liberty City in Miami
Mhm.
has been a hood since the 70s.
Right.
Today is still a hood.
I agree.
There's a lot of them.
Right.
The community has been begging the government for a change. Has been
Changing it into what?
changing to a better quality of life, to make it equal opportunity to obtain a better quality of life, to make it. People have to move out to the suburbs to get it. We move out to the suburbs, we're not welcome.
Right, but I mean, I'm assuming that you're referring to the housing projects, right?
Well, that's one. That's
Right.
a chapter.
Okay.
But there's a zoning situation, right? There's this I'll give you an example.
But here's
I'll
the
give you an
problem.
example.
Okay.
I worked in Bavoni, Virgin Islands, and one of the co-workers came back from lunch with a turtle. He was one of those kind of people, right? So everyone is gathering around the turtle, and I was like, "Hey, what does the turtle eat?" He was like, "I don't know, maybe like an apple or something." I left work to look for an apple. I went to 5 stores in Bavoni and couldn't find an apple.